Students, a very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the class once again. Students, today we are going to begin a new poet, W.B. Yeats. Yeats is a very famous Irish poet, dramatist, prose writer, and one of the foremost figures of 20th century literature. Students, let us first come to know about the life of W.B. Yeats. Yeats was born on June 13, 1865 in Sandymount, Ireland. He was educated here and in London. He spent his childhood holidays in County Sligo and started studying poetry from a very early age. William Butler Yeats stands at the turning point between the Victorian period and the modernism, the conflicting currents of which affected his poetry. The year 1885 is an important year in Yeats's early adult life, students, because his first poetry was published in this year in the Dublin University Review. Students, he belonged to the Protestant Anglo-Irish minority that had controlled the economic, political, social, and cultural life of Ireland since the end of 17th century. Most of the members of this minority group considered themselves English people who happened to have been born in Ireland, but Yeats staunchly affirmed his Irish nationality. Students, as it happens with every great person, that he comes across so many great people in their life, the same happened with William Butler Yeats. In the year 1885, Yeats met John Leary, who was a famous patriot and who had returned to Ireland after 20 years of imprisonment and exile for revolutionary nationalistic activities. O'Leary had a keen enthusiasm for Irish books, music, ballads, and he also encouraged young authors and poets like Yeats to adopt Irish subjects for their writings. Students, Yeats, who had preferred more romantic settings and themes, soon took to O'Leary's advice and started producing many poems based on Irish legends, Irish folklore, Irish ballads, and song. As he has also explained in a 1908 volume entitled Collected Works in Verse and Prose of William Butler Yeats, he writes, when I first wrote, I went here and there for many subjects as my reading led me, and preferred to all other countries Arcadia and the India of romance. But presently I convinced myself that I should never go for the scenery of a poem to any country but my own, and I think that I shall hold to that conviction to the end. The second major influence in the life of William Butler Yeats was Maud Gonne. Students, as Yeats began concentrating his poetry on Irish subjects, he was compelled to accompany his family in moving to London at the end of 1886. Here he wrote poems, plays, novels, and short stories, all with Irish characters and scenes. At that time, he was also writing book reviews on Irish topics as well. So here in London, Yeats met with Maud Gonne. She was a very beautiful, tall, socially prominent young woman, passionately devoted to Irish nationalism. Students, Yeats soon fell in love with Gonne and courted her for nearly 3 decades. With Gonne's encouragement, Yeats redoubled his dedication to Irish nationalism and produced such nationalistic plays such as Countess Kathleen, that was published in the year 1892, which he dedicated to Maud Gonne. And in one other such play, he featured her as the personification of Ireland in the title role. Most of Yeats's poetry uses symbols from ordinary life and from familiar traditions, and much of his poetry in the by the time 1890s continues to reflect his interest in Irish subjects. During this decade, he became increasingly interested in poetic techniques. He became a friend of English poet Lionel Johnson, and in 1890 they helped found the Rhymers Club, a group of London poets who met to read and discuss their poems. This club students played a very high placed a very high value on subjectivity and craftsmanship and preferred sophisticated aestheticism to nationalism. This club's influence can be seen in on Yeats's poetry written during this period, culminating in The Wind Among the Reeds that was published in the year 1899. Although Yeats was soon to abandon that lush density, he remained permanently committed to the rhymer's insistence that a poet should labor at rhyme and cadence, at form and style, as he reportedly told to a Dublin audience in the year 1893. Students, this much for today. We will continue with W.B. Yeats in our next class. Thank you very much.